Hello, everyone. Dr. Ames here. This time I'd like to talk to you about the prejudice-prone personality. These are the people who have personalities that are most likely to develop stereotypical mindsets about other groups of people in particular. Um, the amount of prejudice any person has really just varies tremendously. It's about our cultural background, our family upbringing, certainly. Our life experiences have a lot to do with it. Um, but we do know that it's the thinking and the traits that we can identify that tell us what these type of people are like. So a lot of prejudice-prone personality types have strong authoritarian leanings. They consistently show a high degree of prejudice against all other cultural groups than their own. So authoritarianism is one of the things that we look for with the prejudice-prone personality. On the other hand, those who are not as susceptible to holding stereotypical mindsets and thoughts about other groups of people tend to be more open in their approach to things. They are more flexible in life in general, and they tend to show less prejudice against other cultural groups. So there is a big difference between being authoritarian and being open-minded and flexible. And certainly we see this play out in the thinking processes of people that we would say are highly prejudiced compared to those who are not prejudiced. And there are some different ways which these things play out, some different personality traits actually that we can really talk about. So, first of all, the highly prejudiced personality, we look at their thinking processes. Um, their prejudiced views tend to reflect their view of life in general. It is inescapable that every day they're wearing their emotions and their thinking and whatever it is that is most occupying their mind, it drives their lives. And so our stereotypes are controlled by powerful emotions. And so people with a highly prejudiced personality generally are very much engaged in their narrow view of life. They indulge in this, in really what we call either or thinking. There don't seem to be many gray areas for these people when it comes to thinking about other groups of people, when it comes to examining situations or consequences or implications. It's just one way or the other. So, as you see here, things are either good or bad, or they're right or wrong. They're either black or white, they're male or female, or they're proper or they're improper. And anything that goes away from this, those very much of a binary choice, is suspect because people with the prejudice prone personality do not have gray areas of thinking. So, if that's the case, then they very much like a homogeneous environment. They like everything to be the same. They like the people that are around to be the same as themselves, but they like their environmental conditions to be the same all the time. They're not really fond of variety. They don't like it when things change. So the status quo is often something that they will support quite fervently. They don't want to change anything, and they want everybody else to keep it that way as well. We do notice that people with the highly prejudiced personality have very rigid thinking. Um, they do what's worked in the past for them. Um, they are not going to adopt necessarily new ways of thinking and doing things unless they're forced to or they have to for some reason. They're inflexible. They do like to follow the rules. In fact, they love the rules. They like instructions and regulations, and they want a good, strong framework of authority to guide them and so forth. They want social dominance. Most of them don't necessarily want to be the leader, but they want to be part of an in group that appears to be the leader or that's very powerful in some way because they want feelings of superiority that often go along with this sort of membership in an in group. Besides the way they think, we can identify some of those personality traits of the highly prejudiced personality. First of all, it is associated with the authoritarian personality, and some of which I've already mentioned, like rigidity and inflexibility. Once they believe something, they do not update their mental categories or the labels with new information. It's almost impossible to change their mindset, even if you present them with information. They are very intolerant of weakness, and this weakness cannot be within themselves, and they cannot put themselves in a position where they may appear or they may think that people will perceive them as weak. They despise other people who they classify as weak, so they're quite intolerant there. When it comes to something they have a strong view about, if you disagree with them, they can be highly punishing. Particularly as parents, they are quite aggressive sometimes, defending what they believe is the truth. Um, so aggressive personality behavior. Quite often they're very suspicious. They're cynical about things. They believe in destiny and so forth. They're just cynical. They're extremely respectful of authority, but it's got to be an authority that they're part of and recognize and so forth. And so generally that plays out that they are extremely politically conservative people. Okay, folks, that's all I wanted to talk about this time. I'll talk to you again soon.